What is up, everybody? This is RadTechShoe, and I am bringing you part 7 of my Devil May Cry 2 LP Lucia storyline. So we're going to go ahead and look into the power-up menu. I'm going to power up my bowgun to level 2, just because it's really not going to be all that useful. But as you can surmise, we are underwater now, and we have begun our series of underwater missions. So right off the bat, swim on down here, head into the alcove, and grab a complete blue orb. Very important, don't want to miss that. And then swim up here. Now, the controls for swimming are pretty standard. You just repeatedly tap X to make Lucia rise. She'll rise to the surface. You tap circle, and she'll descend. When she comes to the surface, she will double jump. But anyway, before we get too far into it, let's grab this devil heart. Now that we have the Aqua Heart, when we're in Devil Trigger mode, we will move quicker and faster through the water. And that is always useful, considering how Lucia moves kind of slow when in water. So let's deal with all the Mancers right here, the Pyromancers and Oromancers. No, I think they're all just Oromancers, never mind. But there are a lot of mechanics that work for this underwater segment. It's a little more in-depth than the last game. But even still, the underwater segments are definitely not the strong point of this game. Go ahead and interact with this door up here on this ledge, and we will find another secret room. This is a pretty easy secret room. It's nothing but Demon Chorus. Just Demon Chorus, Demon Chorus, Demon Chorus, that's all it is. First wave and second wave is nothing but Demon Chorus. This is probably, pound for pound, Lucia's easiest secret room. So, as I said, with the underwater combat system, this game has done a few things differently. For instance, the bowgun is replacing the needle gun from last game. It's your underwater weapon. However, it's nowhere near as useful or as powerful. It takes a lot, and I mean a lot of rounds from the bowgun to kill enemies. But Lucia can melee. She can melee, unlike last game with Dante. He could not melee at all. Lucia can. However, her melee attack is extremely slow, and it's not nearly as It's not powerful because Lucia herself isn't a power hitter. She's not a power character. She's more about speed and combos. But you can't combo her underwater attacks together. They're so slow. So, like I said, this was not a high point of the game. This is really one of the parts that drags out, and it's not as fun. I mean, it's not extremely bad. But it's definitely not a highlight that you want to talk about. You know, like when you play this game, you'll be like, "Oh man, that underwater fighting section, oh, that was awesome." Unfortunately, that's not the case. Anyway, out here is an open room, and you can see a tunnel down there with a red orb that we want to go to. However, there is a current that is pushing, and we cannot go there. The current will push us away, so we have to swim upwards. We have to find a way to make it so that the current no longer reaches us over here. So what we're going to do is go up here, and there's going to be a bunch of stones that we can attack, as well as Sargasso. And right now, I'm going to equip the bowgun. Now, the bowgun is extremely weak. You're going to see me try and hit the Sargasso with it, and when it does hit, you'll see how little damage it does. Right there, it's so weak, and her melees are so weak as well, so it's really just kind of a fool. Luckily, the Sargasso don't fight very aggressively. Now, one thing you may have noticed is that I had to equip the bowgun. Lucia also has another weapon she can use underwater, and those are the cranky bombs. The cranky bombs are the only weapon that Lucia has. The only ranged weapon, mind you. She can obviously use her cutlass here, as you can tell. But the only ranged weapon, the only projectile weapon she has that can be used both above, out of water, and in water, the cranky bombs. The bowgun can only be used in water, and the darts and the throwing daggers can be used out of water, on land. So the cranky bombs are unique in that they can be used both in and out of water. I find that their use in water is You'll see me use it here in the boss fight at the end of the mission. But even still, there's not really the greatest. Like I said, the cranky bombs are very, iffy in terms of their practicality and their usability. But for now, we're just gonna be trying to use the bow gun and the melees, just because the cranky bombs, just like when you throw them on surface, you kind of toss them in front of her. She doesn't really place them or set them anywhere or throw them in a straight line. She just kind of lobs them forward and they slowly fall, and then they'll eventually explode. Anyway, once we attack this orb and activate it, this wall will drop, and now the current is no longer flowing in this side of the room, and we can descend down the hole. So, let's jump back into the water, head on down, and we'll go down the new path we now have access to. So pretty much, like I said earlier, underwater combat just doesn't, suit the Devil May Cry franchise too much, in my opinion. It's kind of slow. It's definitely a more frustrating aspect in terms of just wanting to kill enemies fast. Especially with Lucia, since she's the speed character, she's not a power hitter. But anyway, we're going to get ready to go do a boss fight. So grab these green orbs, even if you don't need the health. They're worth several hundred apiece. I'm just going to have a look around the power-up menu. I could power up the cranky bombs if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. And as you can tell, I'm not even going to touch the Clyamores. Anyway, just swim through the door, initiate the cutscene, and start the boss battle. Alright, so now we are fighting the Tatao Besu, and this guy is just pretty much a giant fish, but he's got the ability to camouflage himself, similar to like how the Predator would camouflage himself. As you can see, you can still make out the silhouette. And for some reason, even though you and I can plainly see him clear as day, Lucia will not lock onto him when he is invisible like that. Now, when he is visible, she will lock onto him. So as you can tell, I'm trying to toss the cranky bombs around her, so that when he swims by, he'll swim into him. But because the camera kind of focuses on Lucia and it doesn't focus on the boss, I don't know where exactly he is in relation to Lucia. So that's kind of the problem with this boss fight. Earlier in a test playthrough, I actually finished this guy off really, really quick. Like, I managed to drop like every few cranky bombs would hit him, and like the battle took like a minute. I got really lucky. This time, it's not so lucky. It took a long time. We're gonna be here for a while. And as you can tell, like even now, even though I was locked onto him, once he turns invisible, she loses the lock-on feature. It's kind of stupid, but I guess it's not. It's just to make sure that you don't keep using the bow gun, But like this fight is kind of drawn out and tedious, and it's another reason why I'm not a big fan of the underwater combat in this game, because bosses should not be so frustrating to deal with in this manner. They just shouldn't. So it's pretty frustrating just to deal with this. Now, yeah, as you can see, the cranky bombs, when they do hit, they deal a good chunk of damage. And I imagine when they're leveled up to the max, they do a great amount of damage to this guy. But for the most part, I didn't want to waste it, because like I said, this is the only actual use I've found for the cranky bombs in the storyline. They're not really all that useful, at least to me, anywhere else in this game. This is the only use I've found for them, was this boss battle. I play around with them every now and then. Now right here, this is where things start to want. He lines up and he keeps coming for me. Even after he takes a hit, he keeps coming for me, he keeps coming for me, he keeps running into my cranky bombs, and I'm able to finish him off. And that's all he left behind, that little one red orb. Anyway, swim up through the hole in the ceiling, and that will end the mission. Alright. So thank God that's over with. So, for the most part, you know, relatively straightforward mission. You know, just swim through a couple rooms, attack a few things, fight the boss. Nothing too fancy. It's just unfortunate that the cranky bombs, I can't throw them really well. Lucia just kind of drops them right in front of her. But anyway, I will see you all in the next mission.